It was just another quiet evening, the kind where the world seems to hold its breath. A kind man was walking down an empty street when he heard something. A faint, almost ghostly cry carried on the wind. He stopped, listening. At first, he thought it was just the rustle of leaves or the hum of the city in the distance. But then he heard it again, a tiny, desperate meow. He followed the sound, his curiosity piqued, and then he saw her. There, nestled beside a crumbling, broken wall, was a mother cat. She was painfully thin, her fur matted and dirty, her body trembling with exhaustion. But she wasn't alone. Tucked beneath her, she was sheltering a tiny cluster of kittens, so small they looked like little balls of fluff. Her eyes, wide and filled with a deep, weary fear, watched the world with suspicion. Despite her own weakness, her body was a protective shield wrapped tightly round her babies, trying to offer them warmth she barely had herself. It was clear she hadn't eaten a proper meal in days, maybe even weeks. Every ounce of her energy was dedicated to her children. She was a mother, and she refused to leave them, no matter the cost. The man's heart ached at the sight. He knew he had to do something, but he also knew he had to be careful. Any sudden move could scare her away, and she might take her kittens somewhere, even more dangerous. So, he moved slowly, deliberately, taking one careful step at a time. As he got closer, the mother cat's instincts flared. She tried to push herself up, to stand on shaky legs, placing her frail body as a barrier between this towering stranger and her precious kittens. She was weak. You could see the effort it took, but her love, her fierce maternal love, was far stronger than her fear. Seeing her protective stance, the man stopped immediately. He didn't want to be a threat. He wanted to help. He slowly lowered himself to the ground, making himself smaller, less intimidating. He began to speak to her in a soft, gentle voice, murmuring words of comfort and reassurance. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small can of cat food. He opened it, and the scent, rich and savory, filled the air. He placed the food on the ground, a safe distance away, not too close to her, but not too far. The mother cat froze. She was torn. Her gaze flickered from her hungry, mewing babies to the life-sustaining food and then back to the strange, quiet man. It was an impossible choice. Her own survival versus the constant protection of her young. Her stomach growled, a painful reminder of her own needs. After a long, agonizing moment of hesitation, her raw, gnawing hunger finally won the battle. She crept forward, cautiously, her body low to the ground. She began to eat, but she never once took her eyes off her kittens. Every bite was taken with a glance over her shoulder, ensuring they were still safe, that the man hadn't moved. She ate quickly, carefully, her guard never fully down. That first encounter was the beginning of a routine, a ritual of trust. The man returned every single day, at the same time. He brought food. He brought fresh water in a clean bowl. He brought a soft, warm blanket and placed it near her makeshift nest, hoping to give them a little more comfort against the cold ground. With each visit, the wall of fear round the mother cat began to crumble, brick by brick. She started to recognize his scent, the sound of his soft voice. She no longer hissed when he approached. Instead, she would watch him with a growing sense of understanding. He wasn't a danger. He was a source of life. He was help. Then came the night the sky opened up. Rain began to fall. Not a gentle shower, but a cold, relentless downpour. The street quickly turned into a series of running streams. The man sat in his home, listening to the storm rage outside, and his heart filled with dread. He knew that fragile little family wouldn't survive another night like this out in the open. The cold, the wet. It would be too much for the tiny kittens and for their weakened mother. He couldn't wait any longer. He grabbed a thick, dry towel and a carrier and rushed back to the broken wall. The mother cat and her kittens were huddled together, soaked and shivering. He spoke to her softly, trying to calm her as he reached down. With the utmost care, He gently picked up the kittens one by one, their tiny bodies cold against his hands. He wrapped them snugly in the warm towel, shielding them from the rain. The mother cat watched his every move, her eyes wide with uncertainty. But she didn't run. She didn't fight. She seemed to understand. As he started to walk back towards his home, she followed him, staying close to the precious bundle in his arms, never letting her children out of her sight. For the first time in what must have felt like an eternity, they were safe. Inside the man's warm, dry home, the world was a different place. The kittens, now dry and cozy, slept peacefully in a soft bed, their bellies full for the first time. The mother cat, after a good meal and a long drink of water, finally allowed herself to rest. Her tense body relaxed, the constant vigilance easing from her shoulders. Her eyes, once filled with fear and desperation, were now calm. She had done her job. She had kept them alive. The days that followed were a blur of healing and happiness. The kittens grew stronger, healthier. Their personalities began to emerge. They were playful, curious explorers. And soon the quiet house was filled with the delightful chaos of their tiny paws and happy squeaks. They chased toys. They tumbled over each other. They filled the home with pure, unadulterated life. And through it all, their mother watched over them. She would lie nearby, her eyes filled with a serene, quiet pride. She knew she had protected them through the hardest of times. And she knew that help had finally arrived when she needed it most. She was no longer a lone warrior fighting for survival on the cold streets. She was part of a family. It's amazing, isn't it? Sometimes all it takes is one person, one kind heart, to stop and notice, to offer a helping hand. That single act of compassion can change the entire world for a family in need. And in this story, by saving a devoted mother, that kind man didn't just save one life. He saved her whole world. Thank you so much for watching this incredible story of rescue and a mother's love. If this video touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more uplifting content. Every bit of support helps us share these important stories. We'll see you in the next one.